Banbury United, champions of the Southern League, Premier Division Central, and you only have to listen to that. Banbury United have done Oxfordshire proud this season, and today marks the culmination of Banbury's revival, promoted to their highest level ever into the National League, and Southern League chairman Terry Barrett is handing over the winners' medals to all of the players.
You know, we've been here since 1931, and it's a history. It's Banbury United's history. It's Banbury Town's history.
Changed my life really for the better. Went to one game and now I've been to about 300 odd in a row.
I went from terrace to boardroom, I suppose.
There are unique challenges to Banbury United's setup which make the whole thing very hard.
We're surrounded by so much wealth. And Banbury's sort of plonked in the middle of it as a sort of working class town. We fight for everything we've got, you know. We're fighting to keep our football club at the moment. We've fought to keep our hospital open.
It just means more from being from Banbury, supporting them and wanting them to do well.
The ambition is there, the support is there, the drive is there.
Regular steam working through Banbury to the north came to an end in early 1967. To commemorate through working to Birkenhead, 4079 arrived on the Birkenhead
Square. You were two full line returns.
Yes, please.
I used to go with my dad when I was very small, when it was Banbury Spencers, 61, 62.
My great-granddad played for Banbury Spencers. Then my dad came down in the 50s. When I was 10 years old, I used to come down to the club because my uncle played.
I was taken to Banbury United by my uncle, Dave Hughes. I think he first took me down when I was about 5 years old. I remember being knelt down in front of the old stand that we had on the far side of the pitch, like the canal side. A lot of the older supporters remember it, with all the painted faces on it and stuff like that. It was quite a famous stand. I think it's featured on St Groovesy actually.
And coming up Station Road at the end of the game, holding me dad's hand, and in those days, no sport on the telly. If they had 2,000, it was a bag gate. I was more interested in looking at the steam engines going by, you know.
But it's always been Banbury United. My uncle Holt Wally, he was my hero. He played with the likes of like Kevin Wilson, Paul Day. We used to stand in the town end, sing Moa is Bionic. He was king of the penalty spot in those days. We used to get paid 50 pence to clean his football boots, and we also used to clean his medals. If we wanted a job on a Sunday morning, Nan used to say, "Oh, clean your Uncle Wally's medals."
One very distinct memory for me is just being stood outside the dressing room once when I was I think I was a little bit older, about 9, 10. And the smell, when the players come out to go onto the pitch, the smell of the deep heat. I always remember that smell of deep heat, and I could just remember, I thought it was just something. This is brilliant. This is. I was just hooked. I was just hooked early on. It was just fantastic to be down there, so close to the players.
No floodlights in them days, so in the winter the game kicked off at 1:45. And my mother used to go into Banbury shopping, and me and my dad went to football. Where the Foscott stand is now, there was a great big grass bank, and we used to stand there, and where the clubhouse is now was a railway carriage, which was the changing rooms, and next to it was a double-decker bus which was a tea room downstairs and a press box upstairs. It was just what you did. You know, I mean, I still go there now, and there's still 10 or 12 of us from those late 60s, early 70s are still there.
My uncle brought me up on stories of like 72, 73, the FA Cup years, and we played Northampton and everything, and blah, 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 and, you know, the wall claps behind the goal and everybody was on the pitch, and you get brought up, as a Banbury fan, that's what you got brought up on, you know, but and my respect for Tony Jakes, Tony Foster, and all them boys from that era is massive. But you know, when we sort of did it, when our era did it, you know, and you got people like Harding, you know, Jay Williams Langley, Jerry Sulo, you know, they became the new sort of Jakes and Fosters for me.
Our past Puritans, will you please welcome to the fifth ball?
I played 224 times and scored 140 goals.
First game I played, I started scoring goals and couldn't stop scoring goals. Tony Jakes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm going to buy you lunch.
No, you're not.
No, you're
I'm
not.
giving this.
No, you're not. Yeah, no, don't argue. No, don't argue. You can't buy anything here. You're not allowed to.
Tony Foster and myself formed a partnership, it seemed, and we were scoring goals for fun.
Jake's a great guy to play, you know, to play with. Took a lot of pressure off me playing. There's Jake's. That's when we beat Whitney. That wasn't in the cup though, it was in the league, so what that was. If you played, you know, and you stopped at a pub on the way back, and you'd all put in a couple of pounds and a pound or whatever, and it was absolutely brilliant. And you'd have a whip and you'd have a beer and whatever, because you didn't drink short, so too expensive. Except Jakesy, Bacardi and Coke, you know.
And when a goal was scored, Foster or me or whoever. And the noise was unbelievable, and you think, well, I've got to keep going to get that noise, because that's the atmosphere was unbelievable. We loved scoring, both of us. The goals we scored were just silly. You know, crazy really. And Foster used to, you know, he was a better player than me. And he was superb.
The Challenge Cup Committee are all set, so let's join them.
Number 63,
Northampton Town.
I think it was the week before we played Northampton, because I was desperate to play against Northampton. And after about 20 minutes, this guy's come across and he went over the top and he caught my knee and I went down. And it was really painful. My sister-in-law come running on the pitch and she started shouting at this guy, "You've done this." She said, "You've hurt my brother-in-law." That was a bit embarrassing.
The place had sold out on the day of the game, and it was a draw.
And then we went to Northampton in the replay, and it was midweek for some reason in the afternoon. And I really just ducked and dived to go and play football that afternoon. And unbeknown to me, it was on the radio. And, you know, there was something came up and it said, "Tony Foster just missed," or saying, "My boss has gone." "Oh, what's he? He's supposed to be working." And there I was out playing football.
I had got 3 bookings and I was suspended for that game. I'm sitting in the stands, which was the worst ever. You know, you knew what you could be doing. And we lost, and that was the end of the cup run. What is unique about this particular football club is that we don't have a wealthy benefactor. We don't have an owner. We are owned by
our members in essence, so we have to be self-funding. So every penny that we bring in needs to generate something for the good of the football club.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Hello mate, how are you? Well, good.
I was secretary of the supporters club at the time. We had a lot of fans who were very worried about the ownership model at the time. We engaged with Supporters Direct. We just thought that for Banbury, a supporter-owned fan club was the way forward for us. We put it to the other supporters. Everybody was up for it, and we did it. And I believe it's been a very good, successful model for us over the past 10, 11, 12 years.
I think, you know, it was the right thing to do. It got the community involved, it raised awareness of Banbury United. You know, a lot of the members now are still members from when they were very back when we went community owned. And it's just, it highlighted the fact that Banbury United is here, because some people come down and they were like, oh wow, we didn't even know it was here.
There was 9 of us at the time, and all the roles got divvied up, and there was one left. And that was commercial director, and I was the only one really left. Now, I had no experience at all of selling commercial stuff, not at all. I was a teaching assistant at times before I got my shop, but I knew a lot of people in Banbury, so like selling advertising boards around to go around the side of the pitch, I was selling them down the pub on a Saturday night, just like talking to people. It was no big, it was no spreadsheet, and there was just no marketing plan. But I love that. You know, 2 FA Cup first round appearances, first time we've done it in 40 odd years. Won the Southern League. It just grew. It just grew. Yeah, and then promotion to the National League. Obviously, we're back in the Southern League now. Hopefully for not too long, because we're big non-league football club in my mind, waiting to happen. We just need to get the structure right, off the pitch, and then push on again, in my opinion. And I think it's set us up in a good position for the future as well. We're in charge of our destiny.
So thank you for coming in this evening. This is quite an important agenda to get through. This turnout's fantastic, so thank you very much. We've got a fair bit of detail.
I've joined together with the rest of the group, and we've joined a community benefit society that have been in that place since 2016. We can get the club so far to be able to compete, and we can generate income and revenue and deploy it wisely, but that's it. 4 or 5 months ago, I stood in front of the members and said, for this club to step on, we need to bring in investment, and that will include a sale. Now, I've only been here 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. They've been here 40 years. And to a part, they've agreed at this stage to explore that as the way to take the clubs forward.
In terms of ongoing progress, I'm going to give you just an overview agenda of what we're going to cover this evening, and then for the majority of what we're going to go through, I'm going to pass it over to Ryan, who's been leading on this.
For this club to break even, we need to be turning over in excess of £700,000 a year. Now that's money we have to generate, because there are no owners supporting that. So what we're doing as a CBS is fine if that's what you want, but there will need to be budget constraints, knowing it's not going to face any financial challenges. Or if we don't want to do that, and we want to be successful and we want to push on, we need to find a benefactor who will, but they have to own the football club. So we don't want somebody to fund the football club, because we've demonstrated that we can generate our own income and we can deploy it wisely, but somebody to be able to support that income as and where needed each year for us to be able to step on.
It sounds very romantic, and back in 2015, when the Community Benefit Society was introduced, it was the right thing to do for the club. I'm Claire Dunbreck. I've been a volunteer at Banbury United for 2 years. I've also been playing at Banbury Hockey Club for the past 10 years. Like a lot of people during lockdown, I was sitting at home wondering what to do, and I noticed that Banbury were playing Canvey Island in the FA Cup, and it was on the BBC red button, and thought, how silly that I've lived here for all this time and I'd never actually been down to watch the men's first team play. I started following the club, and the team was in its promotion run year that year, so everything was very buoyant and positive, and it was a great atmosphere. And I found that after the first time I kind of went to every single match that I could, every single home match. Friends and family were kind of saying, this is a bit odd, what are you what are you doing going down on your own? And at that point I thought, oh, maybe I should do something, lend my professional skills to the club, volunteer, get involved.
If it wasn't for the volunteers, there wouldn't be a Banbury United. When I see the sacrifice that people make, like the team here today, trying to tender to the new surface, and the rest of the board, you know, the work that Claire does, the stuff Lisa does in the community, when I see hour after hour after hour of what all these people put in, because they put in far more hands-on day-to-day work than I do, how could you not be happy and want to get involved, right? It's a brilliant thing to be part of.
Well, it's not on. Well, no, just look down the end of it, see if it... on it.
In terms of what makes you keep coming back to a football club to volunteer, it's what keeps you coming back to watch a team, especially when it's maybe not doing so well, and that's hope. You hope that this is the match that you were so glad you came to watch, where the team put in an amazing performance and got, you know, a point or three to, you know, keep your position in the league safe, or you saw some great football that day. It's hope.
There's always that thing in the back of your mind that you might see a great game, you might see a great goal. You know, I've seen it enough times where we've been absolutely dire, and then you have a moment of magic from a player, and all of a sudden it's been a brilliant game, brilliant day out.
I haven't missed a game for about 6.5 years now. That's like pre-season games, cup games, anything. When you win, it's obviously better, but as long as I have a good day, that's the main thing really. And yeah, it does give me sort of that extra bit with the mental health, as it just gives you something to look forward to every single week without fail. It's just, even if I haven't got any other plans, I've still got football to look forward to on the Saturday.
It was really nice, to be honest with you, getting down the ground, and especially being a small club like Banbury, you see that my dad and my granddad and my grandmother, they know everyone, and it's quite nice to see, because to me, you know, they're just dad.
We played against Leiston. I was quite nervous as I didn't know anyone really, but thankfully my dad knew a lot of people. So already after one game I'd already met a few people, and that was sort of why I kept going down, because I'd sort of already made a few friends really.
So I think his connection is the big thing. The first one I really remember that sticks in my memory was Chesham away, and it shouldn't stick in my memory because we ended up going down that day. But that was the first away game that I went to, and I sort of thought, yeah, I'm going to do this every weekend. I don't know, it give you that sort of extended family feeling. They're relatable to us, and they're kind of like, I suppose we sort of see them as sort of working class heroes, you know, for our town, especially the likes of Jack Harding. I mean, I see him going to work quite regular in his electrician van, and he doesn't, you know, when he's in Greg's in his van in the morning, he probably doesn't realise that how many weekends he's made for so many different people. You know, he's made everyone's weekend brilliant, and there he is just pottering about in Greg's on a Monday morning.
Yeah, it's pretty special when I hear it. I love that when it happens most weeks when I run to the goal that I'm standing in for the first half. Yeah, it always gives me a nice warm feeling. It's very humbling, very special. Losing for Banbury and winning for Banbury is the feeling I'd say is 10 times stronger than it would be winning for somebody else. No matter how bad or good we're doing, there's at least 400 or 500 fans cheering us across the line, which, like I said before, we're in it together. It makes it easier for us to score and win games, and we want to do it. Personally, I want to win for them because I know how much it means to them. Could have quite easily played 100 games for another team, another 150 somewhere else, but to see my name amongst some names that are in 500s and 600s is a very proud moment. My wife comes all the time, which is at home games, but and my in-laws, they come a lot, which is very special. Not easy for anybody to come through the gates and pay every week because it's not cheap with the cost of living, but to have her support, to allow me to play every week, and it is a big commitment, but to see her here, it does always make me very, very happy, yeah. It's very special.
I would say I'm a Jack fan and I'm a Banbury United fan, and he has taught me to be a football fan. I don't think I can put into words how proud I am of Jack. Years and years ago there used to be quite a few local guys playing for Banbury, and now I feel like Jack is Banbury United. I know I'm biased. Knowing that he wants to win for his town and his fans, they're supporting each other. I think that's really, really special. He loves it. He has always loved it. It's his release, it's his passion. Yeah, he loves it, and I love seeing him love it. It's special.
To finally have our own home, our own facilities, that isn't a worry where we're going to be next year, and the board and the volunteers and everyone involved in trying to secure that have done something that they've set out for years to do, where they can now relax and think we've got something to be proud of that's ours, not borrowed from somebody else.
So the ground was sold a number of years ago, and it was purchased by a local business, of which there was acreage set aside for Banbury United to relocate. What was thought to be a £2 to £3 million project is probably a project in the teens of millions. So the likelihood of that happening anytime soon isn't going to happen. So until the owners know exactly what's going to happen with this land, they're not prepared to commit security of tenure to us on anything longer than a 1-year rolling lease, which is never ideal.
It's frustrating for the fans who aren't seeing the club they would quite like. There's only so much you can put on a volunteer leadership, and volunteers from top to bottom. And I think it's time for a switch to private investment, in my view. We travel around to all sorts of other clubs and they seem really well funded. And you're like, how can they do this and we can't? But they probably own their ground. They probably have, a very big employer down the road who chucks in a couple of £100,000 a year. They probably have a 4G pitch that they rent out. They get access to funding that we can't get because we don't own our ground.
We've got so many sort of listed buildings, National Trust buildings, that are all got the highest level of government protection. You can't tell me our football club doesn't offer more to the town than what Upton House or Blenheim Palace does. So why is our football club not given the same level of protection as some of these beautiful buildings we've got? It just baffles me. And the same as the hospital. Why is the hospital not given that same level of protection? As long as we need that facility, it should be available to us.
We can't get access to grant funding because we don't own our ground and we don't have security of tenure with a long lease. So there's X amount of hundred thousands of pounds that we're missing out on. We're prone to flooding. Ideally, the flooding would be rectified. We'd put down a 5G surface that we could monetise, and we'd have a training facility, and school children can use it, and other teams can use it, and we can monetise it 7 days a week, 7 nights a week. But until we establish A, the ownership status, then B, the flooding status, we're kind of hamstrung as to what decisions we can make. We want this football club to be for the town. We want more community engagement. We want more opportunities to families to be able to come and visit us.
You can bring your little ones, you can have a pint in the sunshine if it's shining, you can go in the clubhouse, see what we're all about, have a walk around and just feel the atmosphere and feel the buzz.
Loosely catch at 10 o'clock and we're loosely back about 8:30 at night. I'll meet my sons there and my grandson.
Into the Banbury National League, Banbury United and Altrincham FC Halifax play Hartlepool.
Anyone who's been into the town centre and looked up and seen the buildings, it's really a delightful old market town.
Banbury's a real historical, cultural heritage town. You know, it was massive in the Civil War. You know, Ryder Cock Horse to Banbury Cross. You know, it's a nursery rhyme which is known all around the world, I should think. The Banbury cake.
We're steeped in history. You know, we've got the Reindeer Inn, where they planned the Battle of Edge Hill, for example.
I think if you get to know the town, you get to know the people, it's a brilliant place to be. It's got history, it's got roots, you know. Oliver Cromwell ran a bloody civil war from Banbury.
It faces its challenges on the sporting side. Obviously, we as a family have made the best of the facilities that are here, but also when you're playing football, playing hockey every weekend and you're travelling up and down the length of the country, you see the facilities that other towns have that we don't have here in Banbury, and it's absolutely pitiful. We're sitting here on this pitch at North Oxfordshire Academy. As the hockey club, we have 9 adult teams that all have to make use of one pitch. If you come here on a Thursday night, this pitch will be split up into quarters and even eighths for local football teams to train on, because there isn't anywhere else to train. Through Banbury United, we are pushing incredibly hard to turn this awful situation around.
I don't think the authorities in this town are that big on football. My evidence for that would be that I think we're the biggest town in the country with about a 4G football pitch in it. I'm not just saying that about Banbury United. I'm talking about football in the locality. This is a football town. Without a shadow of a doubt, and don't let anyone else tell you any different. Proper town, proper football, proper people.
I was going for a particularly bad time with mental health, and I wanted to volunteer, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to go to Banbury, give my volunteering days to Banbury. I love the community aspect, like being involved in the community. Because I'm Banbury born and bred, born in a Horton General Hospital, you know, it's giving back something to the town as well. I feel like I'm giving back to my town, my hometown.
I set the Spencer Villa Fund up. That was a fundraising effort where fans can put money into a pot. Spencer Villa, because that was the name of the club in 1934, and then the lottery was an idea. We needed a money raising initiative which wasn't necessarily within the club. You see a lot of these fundraising ideas within the club. You're asking the same people all the time who've come through the turnstiles, who've paid their money for that, and then you're saying, oh, can you pay into this? But we wanted to take some out into the community, and then we linked it up with the Keep the Horton General campaign, so we give them 10% of every ticket that we sell.
No winner here.
You know, we work with quite a few schools, about 8 or 9 primary schools. The kids come down, they're mascots on the day, they wear the Banbury United colours, they run out with their favourite player, they have a kickabout in the town end at half time, town ends cheer when they score, and the youngsters have a great time.
I noticed even last season we're getting a group of youngsters coming again, and you've got to encourage them. You've got to encourage them, and that's what it's all about. Anything to do with community, you've got to get the youngsters involved, and the club's doing quite well on that front.
I mean, the first thing I would say, it's my town, so I grew up here, went to school here. It's a passion for me to improve it, is a strange word, but just have an impact on it. I'm obsessed with it, and it's all I mainly think about. Yes, yeah, sorry. Yeah, mate. Okay. We just gain partnerships and relationships with people, and that's really important for me. It's just gaining partnerships with parents or schools or colleges or whoever that is, charities.
That's how we need to build it, to keep the youngsters coming back. So when I was 10 years old, well, I kept coming back. So they're 10-year-old, let them keep coming back. We've got our academy, which is growing, and our links with Banbury College. We also do a neurodiverse football session, which is unique to the area. We also do homeschooling as well, which people won't be aware of, but we do homeschooling. We do warm spaces in the winter, so people who, you know, feeling a bit vulnerable, they can come down, they can have a cup of tea, it's warm. We've got three women on the board now, and I don't think any non-league club have got that on their board. We've got Nat, who's promoting our women's team now, who's looking after that, she's doing a fantastic job.
I want to be able to make an impact, whether that's on the football pitch and we create young footballers, or whether that's we just create good people. And that's really what my job is, creating good people. And every time I go into a school and there's a backpack hung up, it's got Banbury United logo on it, I feel happy. Or if I come here and there's someone in a Banbury United kit, I'm really happy because it means we're having an impact. You know, parents won't fork out money on a kit if they don't feel that it makes a difference, especially when they have the option to buy Premier League shirts and they're buying a Banbury United one. I think it's really important. And that's what I want more. I want them to grow up and be like, I want to go to watch Banbury United. I want to be at a Banbury United session. I want to interact with them. I want to be a commentator at the games or do media or anything like that. That's the aim.
So it's always a fine line between what we can put on the pitch based on what we bring in and what we need to put on the pitch to make the product, if you want to call it that, good enough that people want to come and see it. So do we maintain the status quo, reduce expenditure and compete at a lesser level? Or do we look for further investment through new ownership? We put checks and balances in place that we would bond somebody into the club for a set period of time, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, with deployable capital allocated to the club each year. So it still intends to wash its own face, but it's supported rather than funded. When we presented it in that way, And there's no decision been made on it yet, obviously, because we haven't got to an EGM where there would need to be a vote, because we're still obviously speaking to people in the background. They chose ambition. And why wouldn't you? I think they trust us to do it in the right way, because we're members, like they are. We represent them, we're their voice. And then ultimately, if it does go into new ownership and the board is disbanded and I'm no longer needed, then, you know, I talked about being a custodian. To be able to come in with the board and the other volunteers and leave having secured the long-term future of Banbury United, I'd be proud of that as being a job well done.
The great thing about the club is the different types of people that come there. You get a real cross-section of people, and everyone's got a different story as to why they're there, and there's a real sense of togetherness.
There's a really strong sense of us. There's no hierarchy. There's a leadership group, because you have to have one, and then there's us. We have a volunteers day where the local community all get together and we do odd jobs, and it might be weeding, it might be painting the railings, it might be rehanging some of the sponsorship boards, and an afternoon is spent here with families and husbands and wives and children and whatever, giving back, because it's us. And that's the difference between being a club in the Football League and being a football club outside of the fully professional game, is that people do what they do out of love as opposed to an employed position and a wage.
As Jack Harding said, the goalkeeper, if you cut him in half, he's got Banbury United all the way through. The non-league is a family, and we care for each other.
I thought I understood the business side of football until I got involved in the business side of football. People won't see what goes on behind the scenes and the conversations that as a group that we have, and the decisions that we do make are made in the right faith, for the right reasons that we believe are the right reasons. People will disagree because it's emotive. They're extremely passionate about their club and their team, and what it always comes down to is what happens out there. The relationship between Banbury United and Banbury the town will be driven by what happens out here. The club has survived since 1931, and it will survive, but it's at what point or at what level does it wish to survive is the key. Now, you ask anybody in Banbury, would they want to see a Football League team here? The majority would say yes, because it changes the entire town dynamic. It brings commercial upside for the whole town. As we've seen with other clubs, Wrexham's probably the shining light on that nowadays, is that there's always opportunity. It's how much of it do you want to seize and how well do you then deploy it. My primary focus is the sustainability of Banbury United. And what we cannot do and what we haven't done, and while we're here what we'll never do, is overexpose Banbury United. And we want to go up the league and we want to get promoted, but we have to do it sustainably.
Well, first thing, I still want to be here in 20 years, it'd be nice. I want the club to remain solvent, and I want the club to remain, and I want it to be reasonably successful.
I'd like to see 4G pitches, a nice training ground, but keep the stadium as it is, because this is where the history is.
Again, people wouldn't appreciate it till it's gone. There's so many people in this town who are probably not even aware it's there, and they're probably not awfully aware of Banbury United, and they don't think it affects their lives. When they've got kids who need a football club to play for, where are they going to go?
When you go back to like the 60s and 70s, you know, crowds of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, that is still there for us. We could definitely be a Football League club without a shadow of a doubt.
It is such a small community which is so large at the same time. Everybody helps each other, everybody wants to do well for each other, the club has to be here. For me, it is the one thing in the town that I feel brings the town together.
We are moving forward. It might be a meandering path. There's ups and downs, but I can absolutely say with my hand on my heart that the people involved in the club are moving it forward. I'm here for Banbury, not just Banbury United.
I mean, I've often thought, you know, if I won the lottery, what would I do with it, you know? I'd probably, you know, first of all, you know, look at Banbury United to see how I could help them out, and that would be true, you know.
The club, the history, the passion of the town will still be here long after I've gone.
As soon as Saturday's over and it's Sunday morning, I'm already thinking about the next Saturday. That's without fail. You just all feel together, and you're just glad to be around everyone, really. That's just all what I love.
And when we won the league, I cried, and I ain't ashamed to admit it, but it's in here. It's in here. And on the good times, you've got to be there.
You know, every time even if you're like mid-table, every time you score a goal, it's a great feeling when your team scores. So it's always been Banbury. It's always been Banbury. It's never been another.
Without doubt, playing at Banbury was really the highlight of my career. Out of all the clubs, Banbury was the one that really, yeah, you could call home.
There's a real value in that name, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure it stays around.
Oh, my favourite time of football. My favourite time of football, without question. Without question. Couldn't wait to get to play. Didn't like the training, but to play, it was great. Really good. Loved it.
I think here at Banbury, it's, she's the old girl. She's, yeah.
But you never knew that you could. And when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in the red and gold. Dancing in the red and gold. Sunrise. Can't believe I love gold skies, and now you love to dance like you should. 'Cause when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in the rain, dancing in the rain. Like you should. 'Cause when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in